Bill Austin was now fully into his work, out riding the range and casting his net in Chile under the leadership of Mr. Strong. Louise had enjoyed her send-off and was now, quote, in the land of her adoption. She wrote, "Praise be to him who has called me to serve in this beautiful land, mountains on every glorious side, and their beauty with their snow-capped peaks jutting up into heaven." She had become part of the team seen here sitting next to Mr. Strong. Lurking in the background to her left was none other than Bill Austin. Bill was also getting used to becoming part of the team. He wrote, "And tomorrow, being 4th of July, and me living with a group of North Americans, I'm asked to join them in a celebration of American Independence Day. The only condition which I would consent to such a traitorous course were that one of the turkeys be killed." We're not sure if the turkey was one of the Americans or a bird living out back of the house. If the latter, he seems to have not distinguished Thanksgiving from the 4th of July. Bill wrote, "I am expecting to spend some time here to study under Agnes Villette, Mr. Strong's daughter," seen here with Mr. Strong, "until I get a real grasp of the language." That was not all he was doing hanging around headquarters. In August of 1943, Louise wrote in a letter home, "P.S. Just an added note that you might be of interest to. Don Cupid seems to have worked overtime in these parts. The man, Mr. William Austin, Austin of England. The day, you guess. The wedding, sometime in the future. Another stepping out in faith." Were married on November 11, 1943. They would take up a new work in Panguipulli in the south of Chile. Living was rustic. They spent most of the time building relationships with the locals, but continued to take trips with tent meetings to various areas of Chile. Bill would speak and sing along with Louise as she played the portable organ. They were also working with the people to build a church building in Panguipulli. 1944 and 1945 were spent living in Panguipulli and doing tent meetings with Bill and his organ grinder. In October of 1946, they were finishing their first term of mission work and heading to England. They left by ship on December 17th, arriving in England on February the 2nd, 1947. They spent the next 7 months visiting with family, Pastor P.J. Smith of the Carley Street Baptist Church in Leicester, and other supporters in England and Scotland. They finally bid farewell and were able to book a passage on a troop ship to travel on to the United States, arriving on September 29, 1947. There they stayed with Louise's mother and sister Bertha, husband Harold, and cousin Linda. The first Sunday was spent at Madison Avenue Baptist Church in Patterson. They stayed in the States in Hawthorne, New Jersey, traveling around New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Chicago. Louise was experiencing some unexpected growth on the furlough. The conditions on the ship from England may have been cramped, but not too cramped to prevent the arrival of baby Beryl on May 18, 1948. With Louise's heart condition, they never expected that they would ever have children, but here she was. Now they would be returning to Chile with a 3-month-old baby in August of 1948. They returned to Tolton, Chile, so that Claire and Ruth Moore could go on furlough. By March of 1949, Beryl was reported as a ray of sunshine, sunny face, a joy. In 1950, they returned to Panguipulli to the mission work they had started when they first married. There, Beryl would spend her childhood in a rural setting, growing fast. Then the world changed. Louise would write, "Overstrain of my heart has left me quite inactive for the present." Her heart condition had worsened. By 1953, she wrote, "The pulse had gone down to 86, but after Christmas, the doctor found it up to 200. Pray for strength and wisdom." In November of 1954, they were planning a furlough to the States to see Dr. Glover in Philadelphia, who would be performing heart surgery to repair a failing valve. They came up to Fort Lauderdale, where Beryl would stay with Aunt Bertha and cousins Linda and Phyllis, while Mom and Dad left on April 2nd and took a train to Philly. Thursday, April 7th, open heart surgery was performed. A new concept back in that day, and a mitral valve was almost closed, was opened to increase blood flow. After a month in the hospital, on May 1st, Louise and Bill flew back to Fort Lauderdale and awaiting Beryl, who would then celebrate her 7th birthday. Once in Florida, Bill was called to England for 7 months, and Auntie Bertie and her mother and kids went to Peru on a mission trip, sponsored by Laterno. Beryl and Mother were left on their own while Beryl attended Bethany Christian School. She had now experienced school in Chile, England, and now the States. While in England, Bill was recruited to become the Secretary General of the British and American Bible Society in Chile. They would now be returning to Santiago, the capital, instead of returning to Punggye-Pui. On the 26th of October, they would board the Queen Nassau and head for Nassau. From there, they would take the Reina del Mar to Valparaiso, Chile, then drive to Santiago to their new home, which they had not actually found yet. The Bible Society did find them a home where they would live until 1963. Beryl was growing up living in Santiago, the capital of Chile, and attending Santiago College. This was actually a private high school where locals and foreign dignitaries such as the head of consulates from around the world would send their children. She also had contact with other missionary children such as the Moore boys, Ed, John, Steve, and Doug. They would remain lifelong friends. In 1962, there was another year of furlough to England and a brief stopover in Fort Lauderdale, and arriving back home February 4th, 1963. Beryl finished her second year of high school in December of '63. In the summer, she helped Bill in the office. By the end of the summer, she was running the office. She was president of the youth group and teaching Sunday school. In December, she was also baptized by her father. She was now thinking of going to Seattle Pacific University in the States to become a nurse. In December of 1965, she graduated high school, third in her class. On the 28th of December, she flew to Florida, where she spent 3 months working at Southern Keswick Bible Conference with her Aunt Bertie. They then drove up to 30 Ocean Pathway in Ocean Grove, New Jersey, where she would work for the summer before she would enter Seattle Pacific University at the end of the summer. That summer, she attended Asbury Park Baptist Church, making a whole new set of friends. She had no idea that she would be returning to that church in Asbury Park in just 2 years to get married. But that is a whole other story.